And if you're comfortable with it, go ahead and start making your own line, but I'm going to demo it one more time. So in order to create a line, you go up to the Add Path button, you click on it, you can give it a title. I'm going to call this one Alternate Route to Water. And then I'm going to start clicking here where the capybara lives. And I'm going to create a line to the water. And then click OK. So go ahead and give it a try yourself and raise your hand if you have any questions. Is there one that says like 17? Do you remember which they use it? Did it change? Did it one of the other things? Yes. I was able to do it from yesterday, yeah, but it's in one of the classes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next one, but if you had a question about adding a line or a path, just raise your hand because our team is walking around and they can help you out. So the other piece of information we're going to add is a polygon. And so polygons can be used to express all sorts of geographic information. In this case, I'm going to use it to show what the capybara's range is. So in order to add a polygon, I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see it better from above. And then I'm going to click this button up here in the toolbar, the one that's represented by a polygon shape. If I hover over it, it says Add Polygon. When I click on that, again, I get the dialog box where I can add a description. So I'm going to call it Capybara Range. And then, much like the line, I can start clicking and adding points to create the polygon shape. So I'm going to start here in the forest and keep clicking to create the shape that I want. And then I'm going to give it a description. This is the range of the capybara. And then click OK. So in that way I've created the polygon. If I wanted to change the color or the opacity of the polygon, I could do that by editing the style and color again. And I can change the area, for example, to orange. And maybe I want the opacity to be just 25%. So I'm going to demo it one more time. If you want to give it a try yourself, if you feel comfortable, go ahead, or watch the demo one more time. So in order to add the polygon, I click on the polygon shape. I give it a name. And then I start clicking to create the shape of the polygon. I can write a description. And then I can also change the color if I wish. And if I'm happy with it, I click OK. So if anyone has any issues, you can raise your hand. I'll actually get to that in the next couple slides. Okay. Maybe I should get to that quicker. That does happen next. So if you, I'm going to ask you to stay in places panel so I can show you. That's on the search arrow that'll collapse it so you have a little bit more room. So if you created things in this My Places folder, they will get automatically saved. And every time you open up Google Earth, they will be there. If you created them in temporary places, it doesn't automatically save them. So if the application does close, you will lose them. So yeah, the next thing I'm going to show is how you kind of organize these things and save them. Sorry to figure stuff out. Yeah. It's probably the internet connection is when it may be because we have so many people on, it's not really good to figure out the resolution should be. Oh, you know, actually, I know how
so it has to do with the
historical energy. So that was from 1970.
There's a reason, but I'm not sure how to fix it.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on, but if you have any questions, just feel free to raise your hand again. So we've already created a line, we've created a polygon. Now we're going to learn how to put all of the items we've created into the same folder so it's easier to save this map for the future. So in order to do that, you'll want to click on the Add button and add a folder. And you'll find the Add button in the top toolbar. So Add Folder. It'll ask you to name the folder. So I'm going to name it Capybara Map. And click OK. So now you'll see that the folder appears down here at the bottom of the Places panel. And what I want to do is I'm going to drag all of the things I've created, the points, lines, and polygons, into that folder so that they're all contained in the same place and it's easier to save them. In order to do that, I'm going to click on this first point here, Capybara. I'm going to click, and while holding down on the mouse, I'm just going to drag it into that folder. And I'm going to do the same thing with everything. So I'd like to ask you to go ahead and do that now. Would anyone like me to demo how to add a folder again? I'll just show it really quickly. In order to add a folder, you go up to the Add button at the top of the Google Earth toolbar. You click Add, and then click Folder. And then you should see it appear in your Places panel. And then to move things into the folder, click and drag them in. Okay, so now I have this nice folder. Everything's in the folder. If I click on this arrow, I can collapse it, so I only see the folder. If I then click on it again, I can expand it and see everything inside the folder. Then let's say I created something that I don't like for example, the alternate route I created just as an example. I don't really want to keep that. You can delete things. So if I right click on it, there's a bunch of different options. One of them includes delete. So I'm just going to delete that route that I created that I don't like. And it does ask you, are you sure you want to do this? Okay. Why don't we let everyone go ahead and move those things into the folder so you have it all in the same folder.
In Google Earth, you cannot. But you do have the words, and so you can have them. But anything that
Okay, so just a note on the Places panel, you'll see if I collapse everything, if I collapse everything here, there are two sections in the Places panel. There's the My Places and Temporary Places. If you put things in the My Places section, then they're going to be automatically saved, and every time you open Google Earth, they'll be there. If you create content, and that's points, lines, and polygons or folders, and you put them in the Temporary Places folder, they will not automatically get saved. You'll need to save them yourself. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do next. In order to save this map so that you can view it later or you can send it to someone, you can right-click on the folder and click Save Place As. So this will allow you to save it to your laptop or your desktop, and you can give it a name. And it will save it as either a KMZ or a KML file. Now again, this is the file type that you can open with Google Earth. Just like with Microsoft Word, you might have a .doc file, or you have HTML files. With Google Earth, the file type is KML. And so you might be wondering, well, what's KML and KMZ? Well, KMZ, the Z stands for zipped. So it's really just a compressed KML file. For right now, at the stage of simple map making, you don't have to be too concerned about what you save it as. A good rule of thumb would be to save it as a KMZ. So I'm going to do that. And so now it's saved to my desktop. And for good measure, because I want to make sure I keep this map, if it's very important to me, I'm actually going to move the folder into My Places so it's also saved automatically and it's there whenever I open Google Earth. So to do that, I would just click the top level at this folder level and drag it into My Places. Does anybody have questions about that?
Why save it? Just so it's portable? Or?
Yeah, so you might want to save it in order to send it to a colleague, for example, to share it with your colleagues. You might want to upload it to the web. So if it's something that's important to you that you want to keep and view again later, it would be important to save it.
Why is it good practice to use KMZ over KML?
Well, KMZ is kind of just a good catch-all way of saving it. You may want to save it as a KML if you're comfortable with programming languages and you want to open it, say, in a text editor and actually edit the KML code by hand. KMZ is great if you're going to put a lot of photos and videos and things like that into your map because it compresses it and it makes the file size smaller. So there's definitely advantages and disadvantages to each. But it's kind of a good rule of thumb, unless you're doing very sophisticated things, to save it as a KMZ. Okay, I am going to move on so we have time to get to some fun things. So next we're actually going to, we're going to put an image into the info window. We're going to add an image of a capybara. And I've actually put a URL to image on the IUCN workshop website that we can use. But I'm going to do a demo first, and then I'm going to do it again and explain more slowly. So I'm going to go to the IUCN EarthOutreach.org website, the Conservation Campus tab, and you'll see here under this first session, I've put a link to capybara image. So I'm going to open this up in a new tab just to show you. This is just an image of a capybara that I downloaded from Wikimedia Commons. And it's hosted on the web already. And so in order to put this image into an info window balloon, like you saw with the survey map, I would need to copy that URL. So I'm highlighting it and doing Control-C to copy. And if I switch back to Google Earth and I want to add that photo to this point, the capybara point, I right-click on it, get info on a Mac or properties on a PC, And then you'll see there's some buttons here to add a link or to add an image. If I click on add image, there's an empty space for image URL. And that's where I can paste the URL that I've just copied into. So I'm going to paste that in. So now you'll see the URL appears in here, and click OK. And so what that does is it actually creates the HTML code for you that displays the photo in the info window. It'll become more obvious what it looks like when I click OK and actually show you. So now when I click on that same point, it will load that photo from the web. So this is a great way to make the points on your map more interesting and more engaging for the public. And just a note that you can add both images from the web and you can also add images from your desktop. But right now, just for the hands-on, which I'll ask you to do next, we're going to use that image of the capybara that's on the IUCN website. So I'm just going to go through it one more time. I want you to open up the IUCN.earthoutreach.org website. Maybe Karen or Dave, will you write the website just up there? So I'm going to open up the website. I'm going to click on the Conservation tab. And then under Simple Mapmaking, I'm going to highlight the image of the capybara, that URL, sites.google.com/site/earthoutreach/capybara.jpg. Copy that. I'm going to switch back to Earth. I'm going to right-click on the capybara point and select Get Info on a map or Properties on a PC. And I'm just going to erase this. This is what it looked like before. And I'll click Add Image. I will paste in that URL. Click OK, and OK again. And now I should see the image within the info window. So give it a try yourself. And then go back to the slide that has the instructions on it. Give it a try and raise your hand if you have any questions about it. Does anybody want me to demo it again? Yeah. Sure. Basically, what you'll need to do is you'll need to look at it on the website. So, like for example, so you can create a Google slide and you just use it to move all of your information. So that's one way you can do it. You can also put it in your computer, your desktop, and I'll show you the slide of basically you instead of using the URL, the website URL. Use the task to that file on your desktop. So, like for example, yeah, if this is a KMC, that's where when I was talking about KML and KMC, and you save it as a KMC, and it'll save it in it. So if you use something to your computer, it's going to save it as that. Okay, yeah, you can go to registration.
Yes. Loss of gender diversity.
That's not good.
Okay, just one note about photos. Several of you were asking about, well, what if I do have a photo on my desktop that I want to use in an info window balloon? And we don't have time to practice that now, but we can during lunch. But I just have one slide here that shows you the top URL is what we just used. That's an image host.